everyone. Welcome to episode 12 of Questions for Reflection. In this podcast, we go over questions to reflect on, obviously, to get to know the energies and to be able to have that knowledge and instinct to know what's coming up for you and how to better direct it. If you can identify something and ask yourself, hey, how do I want to work with this? Where is this wanting to take me? Life can become a bit more smooth. And that is the goal for this podcast. So grab your journals, grab your voice memos, grab whatever, take some time to think, grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a shot of whiskey, I don't know, and think about the stuff we're going to go over today. So, what are we going over today? We are going to cover Mars in this video. We are going to cover its themes and how it's how it's being highlighted, because there are a lot of squares and trines hitting Mars right now. Mars just entered its retrograde zone. So what does that mean? Well, you'll find out. And how are those clues and kind of what's happening right now giving us insight into, I call retrogrades life cycles of change. So you are being asked to change somewhere in your life in a Mars way. So we're going to talk about that. What's a Mars way? What are some of the places you could be being asked? I think we're going to do that on the next one. I'm just going to go through all the places and how that plays out. And this will be over in next May. So I did hear the other day someone say astrology is not for the impatient. You know, it's not a lot of big events that are like, oh my gosh, those are rare in life and those are rare in the energies. Astrology is really about what I'm finding, tracking these subtle energies day to day, getting to know yourself and your wiring, and then as much as you can, either letting go of that control, surrendering, or steering it to help you. Okay, that's awesome. Sorry about that. All right, so Mars, that's what we're going to go over today. I would really love it if you would send in some of your own reels about energies or stories about what happened, stating that I can use them and post them on my social media. We should have a few coming out. You get a $5 credit. Send them to susan@astrologyandsoul.com. There should be some fun ones coming out in the next little bit. I know we have them. Where they are as far as being published, I don't know. I should find out. Here is your question for reflection today. What do I want and what don't I want anymore? There you go. What do I want and what don't I want anymore? So, as I mentioned before, we were going to talk about Mars entering its retrograde phase and what that means. All that means, it's just quite simple. Mars is going into the area of the sky and the place that it signifies for you to bring a change in your life. I call it the setup. Like, what is going on? What is the change? What between now and May of 2025 is going to be shifting in this area for me? And life gives you clues, because in a few months, you're going to be like, wait, what the hell? This is coming up again. What is going on? Mars is being triggered. Usually this phase isn't quite as drastic, I would say, because all it does is Mars is like hitting the degree, which is 17.01 Cancer, of where it's going to go back to when it does retrograde. So it's just going forward like normal, but it is being squared and trined and involved in that grand water trine we talked about last week, also being squared by the sun and Mercury and the nodes. And so we are feeling some of that tenseness. Now, those themes play out every time Mars changes directions in this retrograde. So the themes of who am I? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? How is this inner turmoil coming to fruition in my life? What am I feeling? What am I covering up? There's lots of questions like that going on right now, and they repeat during this cycle. So go back to around the 4th of October. This is the 7th. And see, I think this will be published on the 8th. And really think, what have you been frustrated about since then? What have you taken action on? Have you cut ties? Have you been pushed to take action? Or is there something or someone or, wherever it could be playing out in any part of life for you that you kind of just feel is bubbling? There's an angst to it. Have you pushed an objective in your life with other people, or figured out like, I'm kind of done with this, I don't want to do this anymore? Just something that's not working for you. It would feel like an inner angsty turmoil that's been bubbling for a while. You just have kept pushing it down. I don't want to deal with it. Let's just keep everyone happy. Don't want to deal with this. And now it kind of feels like, oh my God, I might erupt. Here are some Mars qualities. Now, Mars is called a malefic, mal, like bad. So meaning bad things or bad. And, I always cringe with that because I'm like, oh my God, it's just the same. Life is not always happy. Life is not always like Venusy. I love this and it feels so good. I don't know anyone. If you have that life, please write in. I want to know what you are doing. So I feel like Mars and Saturn get these they're malefics, they're bad, they're black, but it's like we don't enjoy them. And there's plenty of crap in life. You can tell I'm turning Marsy. There's plenty of stuff in life we don't enjoy. That's life. Like, seriously, get over it if you think that's not life. We live on Earth, everyone has them. So when we know this energy is coming, you really want to dive into, what am I fed up with? What would I fight for? Where am I done? Where am I betraying myself? Where am I not taking that action? Here are Mars significations. It is action. It's cutting shit that you don't want anymore. Get rid of it. It is a warlike attitude. It's competitive. Like, I want to win. If you're not the winner, what are you? The loser. Okay. That is Mars. I don't know if I even did all right. What's that? Whatever. I have competitive boys. I hear stuff like that all the time. If you're not playing to win, you're not playing at all. That is Mars. It blows things up. It is mission oriented. It's restless, angsty. It can burn through things. It's, and how this plays out depends on what house it is, because the house in your chart will tell you where is this happening. And I think Friday's episode will just be a quick Mars through the houses so you can get a better idea. I'm not promising, that's just what I think. So Mars can be adventures because those are mission oriented, they're action oriented. You are pushed to do them. It's conflict, it's vigorous activity, it's that sex and that release of sex, it's makeup sex, it's stir things up, it can be thought of like as a pioneer by starting new things, ideas that kind of rev people up because they're different, and you have to fight people. You have to fight through the culture and the tendencies of let's not shake stuff up, let's just keep it the same, to push the agenda. It's ideas, it's attacks. It attacks for good. It also attacks for, it can be used for both. All energies can be, even the benefics, which are Venus and Jupiter. Jupiter can bring too much of something. Venus can mean, hey, I just want to sit and eat my grapes all day because that's what I enjoy. And now I can't move, whatever. Everything, all of the energies have higher and lower characteristics to them. It can be problems versus people. It stirs things up. It can create drama. Sometimes if you have a strong Mars in your chart, you're kind of not happy. You need that release. And if you get in a fight or create drama or whatever, like it fulfills something in you because it gives you that release of energy that's pent up. At times, it doesn't feel satisfied if there is not a conflict happening. It is military action. A lot of people who have strong Mars have careers who fight for good or evil, like police, army, firemen. Mars is courage to get out and do what you want. Mars is self-oriented for the most part. It wants to do for you. It is spontaneity. It gets your ass out of bed if you don't want to, and it drives you, it pushes you. So that's what you're looking for. I have found it super interesting. I don't get headaches, and Mars rules the head in astrology. And for the past 3 or 4 days, I've been like, oh my gosh, I have a headache. What is going on? And I think it's this dominant Mars pushing angsty energy. And what is it asking you? So those are the energies. What is it asking you? It's asking, what do I want? What do I want to do? What have I been and not looking at? Ooh, I just messed with my microphone. So let me pause. Pause. Sorry about that. I was getting so, yeah, Marsy, moving and animated that I knocked my microphone out. So what is it asking? It's asking, hey, where do I want to go? What have I been pushing down? What have I not been facing? What have I refused to look at for the sake of it is in Cancer? So family or groups, what have I refused to deal with because I didn't want to upset the status quo there? Whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really have to be your family. How am I feeling about what action is I'm taking? Am I being like aggressive enough? Am I pushing my agenda enough? Am I getting what I want? Am I conscious even of what's happening or what's going on? Or am I just letting it all, kind of flow over me? There is a lot of Scorpio and Pluto energy involved with this, and it is asking you to get on a deeper level with yourself. Dive into some of that muck and deeper feelings and stuff you really haven't wanted to look at and bring it up. Follow your gut. Look at what's hard. Look at what you haven't wanted to upset. Consciously look at that. Otherwise, you might just blow some things up and decide, or I don't even know, decide, at least just be conscious of it. So there are things here saying like, how am I willing to go against the grain? How am I willing to shift it up for me? What do I want to experiment on? There's because Uranus is involved, Pluto's involved. How am I changing? What's blowing up? What's deeper here? Neptune is involved. What's literally dissolving for me? Or what am I not seeing? So it's literally asking for a deeper sense of stop the bullshit. Get to a more real approach. Stop sacrificing. stop martyring, and figure out what it is you want. What do I want? What don't I want? We get to go through how many months of this with ourselves and with everyone else. So, my advice to you would honestly be reflect on what has been coming up for you. What are the themes? Where has it been playing out? We can't always control everything that's going to come up with a retrograde, but we can at least be aware. And so when stuff does start happening, we can be like, huh, okay, that makes sense. So as I've gone into this and really felt, it has just felt really important. Sorry, really important right now with all the different energies and how the themes when Mars changes directions or gets uh really aggravated in this cycle, they all kind of stay the same. I tracked it all the way through May. It's not the same by any means, but there are prominent energies with the same everything I've talked about kind of behind it every super time. Every time. Every single time. So really spend some time with yourself. Allow the anger. What am I mad at? What am I sick of? I'm just done. What do I don't want to do anymore? Blah. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of trying to be political. I'm tired of keeping this happy or this happy. Like this is how it has to happen for me. It just seems really important to get clear, to stop procrastinating. What's going on in the back of your head that you want to try or do something new? Those things seem really clear. Like, what are your yeses and what are your nos? What will you do? What won't you do? This is a direction I want to go. This is a direction I do not want to go. You may not know why, but you are feeling a push, an angst, a mission oriented desire to move forward and have courage somewhere. And what I always tell my kids is, don't blow everyone and everything up unless you really think about it and literally don't do that. But I tell my kids, you can change your mind. You can always change your mind. There are very few decisions, very, very few decisions in life that you cannot change your mind. Now, that is a foreign concept to a lot of people, and especially like my kids, it's hard for them to wrap their mind around that because they're athletes. They have a lot of this Mars energy. They're like, we want to go, we want to win, we want to be victorious. And in a lot of sports, it's like you don't quit. And that kind of was a rule. You don't quit. You keep going. If you start, you finish. What I am saying here though is you can change your mind. So as soon as my kids hit their 20s and they were trying to figure out what school, what do I want to do, where I want to take this action and drive, that so a lot of them played college sports, but at some point, they get to a point in life where that's done unless they're playing professionally. And I always have this conversation with them. Yes, you have been this. Now it's time to realize you can quit anytime. You're in your 20s, early 30s. My advice is always like, try as many things and quit as many things as possible till you find something you won't quit because it suits you. And guess what? In 5 years after that, it might not suit you again. You're not a loser. It's okay to change your mind. Right now, the energy is just asking for some action. We have been a bit stuck with some of the action and energies that have been out there and that we have been taking. And it is a new time, especially with this last solar eclipse. It is a time now it was a south node solar eclipse the day before Mars went into this area. That was asking us to, what wisdom, what have we had, where can we cut some ties and move forward in a new direction? So, what are your clues? This is what you're going to be working out through this retrograde. Take notes, see how it changes and how it comes up through the different times with Mars. Good luck. I can feel it in me. I'm super angsty and rah. So anyway, love you all. Please share what you find. I would really enjoy it. Okay. Thank you.